Every time you see me rub my hands like this, I do it because I love getting those behind the camera, in front of the camera. My guest today is Papilonmexy Emmanuel Emeka Okolo. Visionaire extraordinaire, my personal person. Sometimes, well, technically he's my boss, but still, I love it. I love him, and I love his vision. My name is Adeola. Join me here on exclusive with Adeola, of course, as we talk about life behind the camera. Now I'm bringing it in front of the camera. I cannot wait to hear all he has to say. Sit back, relax, and I promise you, you will learn something. Fully on the Wedding Doctor Show. Welcome to the show, Emmanuel Okolo, aka Papilonmexy. Sometimes I like to call you Papi. How does it feel to be in front of the cameras?
Feels great. Amazing. It's amazing.
Are you sure? Because I know you usually run away from this seat.
No, I'm comfortable. It's amazing.
So let's get right into it.
Okay.
I'll just ask this question. A lot of people who work behind the camera, why do you think it's a bit difficult for them to be in the hot seat, especially when the camera is focused on them?
Are you sure this question is supposed to?
Yes.
Like, am I really on the hot seat?
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know why they are normally uncomfortable. Like I am now here. I'm very, very comfortable or comfortable. I mean, the reason I think this thing is tailored around the personality of whoever the creative is, to be honest. I personally feel very comfortable behind the camera and so much uncomfortable in front of the camera. So trust me, I'm putting on a very serious act now, but I'm having serious cold feet.
You are doing a good job, I must tell you.
So?
I'm telling you,
oh my
he's doing a good job. Don't worry, you'll be all right. You're in safe hands.
Yeah.
You're in safe hands, so you'll be fine. So when it comes to production, you constantly have to deal with all sorts of characters. How have you been able to mix and match personalities when they are on set? Because not everybody will be friends on set. Have you been able to get them to come together?
You mean in terms of crew or
yes, in terms of client? I would say let's start with the crew.
To be honest, that's actually one of the very tough ones. I mean, the question you're dealing with too many different personalities and who have different experiences or events that have evolved around their growth pattern or what they've encountered in the past. But the common thing that joins us together is the fact that we're all creatives and everyone has their own thought process on how they think and how they perceive things and how they actually approach things.
Yeah.
So again, it boils down to personality and profiling.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So most of them, the people I work with, I try to profile and try to find out the right language to communicate with them. And most of the time I make it. Sometimes it goes south. And when that time reached for automobile, I'm very good at running. So I always run to my shield.
Profiling is very important when it comes to dealing with your crew.
Yes.
So you did a production tagged Beyond the Veil. It was essentially a love story, but with a different perspective.
Exactly.
When you were doing that, was there any, sentiment behind the specific story? Or you just felt, let's do this?
I think I've been in the wedding scene for almost 5 years, if not more, professionally 5 years. And in the course of my growth process, I realized that many of us who are videographers and photographers simply play safe. We really are after the financial benefit and not the impact benefit, really. So I said, okay, fine. How am I going to change this narrative? Because more than any other thing, the marriage as at now is one of the fragile institutions we have. Because again, like I know last year or 2 years ago, we did an evaluation and we realized that 68% of the marriages between 2014 and now have
Wow.
Yeah,
But,
so
they're
that
usually very expensive weddings.
very expensive weddings, and for Beyond the Veil, I thought of creating something more than just being a service provider. I needed to create something to inform my target audience on the realities of moving on to that next phase, which again, I'm not there yet, but hopefully soon. But more than anything, I'm really emotionally attached to the fact that when I'm creating my stories, I really want to be boxed into the characters I'm trying to tell their stories. In this case, the client. So the couples, I try to understand them. I try to make sure I'm really part of them in such a way that when they see the camera, I'm actually invisible, or they are used to it. So Beyond the Veil was one of those products I decided to create, and largely influenced by and inspired by true events.
Oh, wow.
So most of the stories you will see in the episodes from episode 1 to 9, I think, different couples and their different stories that have decided to fuse together to create one story. Yeah. So
that's interesting.
Yes.
So you have, most people don't know this, but you do have a background in moving pictures, so moving images. Moving images, yes, moving images. Could you tell us a bit about that? It's good to always know what qualifications, because anybody can say, oh, I'm a visual person, I can do this, I can do that. But qualification and education is still a very good factor to have. So could you tell us a little bit?
Okay, for people who don't know this, I think some few people that know it are still alive. I went to Madonna University. I studied my first degree. Well, I didn't finish. I ran away. Not because the school is bad. The school is good, but I was studying electrical electronics engineering, and after which I left and went to the UK, where I studied for my foundation degree, computer systems engineering. Again, before I jumped into information technology with media studies. Then after that, I went to London Film Academy, where I studied filmmaking for my degree certificate. Then went back to the University of South Wales to study moving image for my master's degree.
Wow.
Oh yes, it's a lot.
Yes,
and I'm not done yet.
Yeah.
Because I'm actually moving to Harvard next year.
Amen.
To do something on my PhD.
Oh,
I mean, it never stops. Since I've been deprived of vertical growth, I think let me be fooling things in my head. Understand?
So, educational growth when you're height deficient.
Height deficient, you grow horizontally. Don't worry about the vertical.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Anyway, when it comes to picking and choosing certain stories, especially in the wedding industry, do you just say, oh, I'm going to work with this client because they can pay me, or because their story means something to you?
I think that's one of the things that set me apart. Truly, and very truly, to be honest, is the story. So when a client comes to me, I'm not too quick to give them my rate card. I'm not too quick to tell you this is how much I charge. I actually want to be friends with you first. So you come to me, I just make it very comfortable with gist. And I try to find out, I know you've come to me for videography services, of course, but I want to know how far you've gone. I want to know what you're doing for your makeup, your DJ, your lights. And when we get into that conversation, I begin to sense the kind of personality you are. And based on your response from me, then I'll be able to piece if I really want to do the job for you, or if I really want to tell your story differently. And if you're that kind of client that appeals to me, I might end up doing your wedding for free. Yeah, so it's
everybody
not really,
tries to appeal to him, I guess, at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I'm quite selective of my client, to be honest. It's not really about the financial benefit, it's about the story itself. How true are you to yourselves first before you bring me in as a third party? Because my story is going to be completely dependent on your stories and events as they evolve in front of my camera. I'm not going to tell you to pose. I'm not going to tell you to smile.
Just be you.
I'm just going to document the hell out of you.
Documenting the hell out of people.
Oh,
I love it. So we are in the era of COVID-19. Unfortunately. AKA COVID. You know, it's causing a lot of grief and a lot of problems. And your industry depends largely, if we're going to be honest, on events happening. Apart from the fact that you have now tailored it to be a curator of original content.
Yes.
A lot of your colleagues still solely depend on weddings and events. A lot of them haven't stepped outside the box yet to say, oh, there is more beyond covering Owambe.
True.
How have you been able to stay afloat and sane? Sane is very important.
I think staying afloat and sane, my decision to stay afloat now started 2 years ago. As at 2 years ago, I was used to the norm. We were all, and this no disrespect to my fellow creatives. I mean, we're doing so well, but I think we're at some point we had a generic template.
Okay.
So I could look back on anyone's wedding in 2015, 50 years from now, and it would look almost the same. And I was really getting bored of that because I kept asking myself, how am I going to convince my kids that I actually fought some few vendors to get some things done? Because that story is completely out. We only concentrate on two perspectives of every story, and that's always the bride and the groom. And if they are lucky, sometimes we include the parents. And for God's sake, if you involved 500 guests in your weddings, that's actually 500 different perspectives of your wedding.
Yeah.
So what I try to do is, like years ago, I was like, okay, fine. What could keep your story interesting? So I decided to break things down. So there are some stories that can never be online now that I've documented, that I actually told the story from their ex's perspective. Yeah, so I went as far as meeting up with their exes. Luckily, some of them resolved whatever they had.
Yeah, closure.
Yeah, they had. And I think that gave room to what I'm about to launch next. It's called a closure. But I'll leave that for another day. But yeah, I realized that when we started the conversation with their exes, we actually found out that there were some loopholes that needed to be repaired before, we moved on to that phase. And I was like, okay, fine. How do we tell the story differently? So I think like 6 of them, we decided to tell the stories from their ex's perspective, which was really interesting. I mean, after I did that, I now realized how organic and sensitive that marriage phase is. If you get what I mean. So I said, okay, fine, I could create something different and stick to it. Okay. And hence the reason I created this one. I don't know if I'm making it.
You're making absolute sense, and I love it because this is a part of you that people don't see. They usually see you saying, no, put the camera here, put the light here, let things get done. But this is an extremely emotionally intelligent side of you, and I'm glad that people are getting to see this version. I feel like this is one of your best versions. You have a lot of best versions, but for me this is one of the best. So 3 tips I need you to give them. 3 tips, sink or swim in COVID-19. For those of them wanting to be in your shoes and do your job. Sink or swim.
Can you rephrase this question? Break it down.
Give 3 tips to upcoming videographers how to stay.
That's what I said. Upcoming videographers, 2 things. Sink or swim.
Sink or swim, whichever works.
So my advice to upcoming videographers and creatives like myself is, first of all, be prepared to make a lot of mistakes. Never move into that project without attempting to make a minimum of 20 mistakes, because those mistakes will birth solutions, and if you are able to learn from that, you'll become good. And never stop thinking. That's touche. That's thinking, right?
Thinking is
then the third one, this is very personal to me, but I'll actually make it public. The fear of failure. Yeah, I know people say it a lot, but for me, it's actually more than that. Not because as an Igbo man, I have more responsibilities, but it's because I'm scared of the unknown, looking at the future, and knowing too well that we have devices that can do a lot more than the DSLRs and most of the devices we use today. So that fear of failing and losing out of that process of creating stories just because my client has a phone that can take better pictures than I am is what scares me. And for upcoming creatives too as well, these are the things you should put into consideration. Don't learn how to use a particular device only. Learn to be a storyteller. So that at some point you can even take that phone from the client and say, see, madam, you don't know how to use this phone. Or sir, let me shoot something for you with this. And by the time you keep trying that, you'll find out that you become a different type of storyteller. not just for today.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to pay you 100K or 200K to cover a wedding today. But is it future-proof? 10 years from now, am I able to look at that video and still smile or cry?
Or just turn it off.
And that's if there's off button now. You know from before, it's just like, Siri, off it. Right now, I'll have Siri too.
Siri 2.0.
2.0.
Okay.
There'll be one male, maybe Siri and Samsung.
And Siri?
Siri.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you so much, Emmanuel, for being here. You are incredible. And I'm so happy that people have gotten to see this set. You're no more hiding behind the camera. You're in my seat today.
Thank you.
And I'm glad that you braved and came and sat down here. Most people ran away.
Yeah.
But they'll be fine.
You tried.
I will get them back.
You tried.
I will get them back.
Can I lose? Can I push the belly out now?
No, not yet. Not yet.
Right.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel,
All
for
right.
joining us. Hope
Thank
you
you.
love our back.
Of course.
Our set. Our
Yeah.
lovely set by Back.
I mean, I must
Backdrop
commend.
Company.
I must really commend the Backdrop Company. I
know.
mean,
I love it.
it's been amazing. I mean, it's been a long time coming. I think this decision was actually birthed from serious demand.
Yeah.
And from the little I know I conversed with them, their creative director, a couple of weeks ago, and I never knew she was going to come up with something like this.
She
And
surprises
this is not
us.
anything close because I've
I
seen
think
the
this
template.
is a simple set
This is
for
the
us.
simplest, yeah.
Because first of all, like I said, this is exclusive with Adeola. So
Yeah.
she has given me an exclusive set. I can't wait to see
So
how
you need to
much
talk to
more.
her. Yeah.
No, you need to bribe me. When you talk to me, I will talk to her. Don't
Okay.
worry.
Is she coming on this?
Yes, she will come on this set.
Okay, all right.
So I will put. You see this hot seat?
Yeah.
I will make it hotter for her just for you.
Thank you, please, because I want to also change my landlord. I have to change some things in the house.
Thank you so much once
Thank
again,
you.
Emmanuel, for
God-
joining us.
God
It
bless
is
you.
always a privilege to have you. Yes, even though he is my director and a good friend, he is my boss, and it's a beautiful thing when you grow your boss. Because now I'm the boss.
Wow.
Thank you for joining us on Exclusive with Adeola.
Thank you very much.
Can't wait to see how much more you have to offer the world, because they have not seen anything yet.
Well, I think
They'll be alright. You heard it here first. Yes, with me, Adeola, exclusively on the Wedding Doctor Show. He went from shy to bold. Maybe I bring out the best in him and other people. We never know, but I love it nonetheless. Remember, videography and visual freedom is all about the mind and what you have to offer. And if you cannot swim, learn. If you don't want to learn, stay away from the pool. I cannot wait to see you next time as we talk with more interesting people with so much to offer. It's not just about giving you entertainment, but giving you something to take home and learn. My name is Adeola Denkora. Join me next time on the Wedding Doctor Show, exclusively with me. Bye.